Alright everyone, we've got one hell of a crazy story today, but it gets so much crazier than the story itself. The New York Post obtained, this is the allegation, according to the story, documentation actually of Hunter Biden and Joe Biden, who claims he never spoke to Hunter Biden about his Ukrainian dealings. It would have been a conflict of interest. He was the acting VP at the time. The claim is that actually there's an appreciation email from one of Burisma's top executives acknowledging the fact that Hunter Biden had actually introduced Joe Biden to this dude before. If that's the case, and I'm not seeing any proof positive this is fake, the WAPO is claiming that these emails are bunk. I'm not seeing any evidence of that. Of course, we've gotten to the point where, a mere claim is taken as rock-solid proof of basically any allegation under the sun. So I'm just going to assume it's real. Considering the pictures that I'm seeing of Hunter Biden smoking crack and passed out in a bed and so forth, I'm of the opinion that the story probably has veracity. But let me analyze this from two unique perspectives. Because I don't care if Hunter Biden smokes crack, ultimately. At the end of the day, what he does outside of the connection with Joe Biden himself in the diplomatic sense doesn't matter. It's funny, it's definitely meme-worthy, and rev up those Keck machines there because it's definitely highly exploitable, but it's not so meaningful. The reaction by the legacy media, number one though, is meaningful. And how it will or will not impact the election is meaningful. Because I analyze politics. Again, Hunter Biden smoking meth and crack, we've already known that he was a weird dude. He literally, he started banging the widow of his dead brother. So he's banging the widow. He cheats on her with a stripper, gets the stripper pregnant, pretends that it's not his, drags her through court the entire time he's high as balls. The dude's a scumbag. This wouldn't surprise me. The fact is that the behavior alleged here in some of these photographs, it comports to what we understand as the objective reality of Hunter Biden. Number one, Twitter and Facebook and Instagram are currently banning anyone who posts the initial New York Post story. Now, the New York Post is a 200-year-old newspaper. I don't particularly, isolated from everything else, I wouldn't particularly care about them fact-checking it because it is a claim for which there is no proof at the moment. Look, though, at the hypocritical double standard of these sites editorializing this particular story. Have they ever lifted a single finger to try to stop the spread of disinfo like Trump praised white supremacists? Which he didn't. Oh, he called the Tweaky torturers at Charlottesville very fine people. Well, he didn't. He objectively didn't. He observably didn't. No attempt to fact-check this has ever been made by these sites. What about the idea of Donald Trump wanting to scrap the ACA, never replace it, killing millions of people? Never happened. He never called coronavirus a hoax. There are so many half-truths, lies, and lies by omission in the current political cycle, and the only fact-checking that's occurring is happening in a totally one-sided manner. When a bunch of billionaires are acting like that, it makes me very uncomfortable. When they are editorializing a news story of this type, to the exclusion of editorializing any news stories by the New York Times or WAPO claiming that this is bunk is just as anecdotal and unproven as the initial story from the New York Post, with the exception that the New York Post can actually show me pictures of Hunter Biden that you can't find anywhere else. Well, they came from somewhere. Now, Twitter is pretending that this is hacked material. It wasn't hacked. It was given to Rudy Giuliani's lawyer. Again, the alleged story is that this laptop that contained this Hunter Biden crap was sent in for repair. The repairmen noticed this material, handed it over to the FBI, but also made a copy of it beforehand to give to Giuliani's legal team. If that is the case, this is the most explosive goddamn political story of the century so far. This certainly makes something like Watergate look like a children's tea party. Now, will this have an impact on the election? I don't actually know. You see, the problem is that you've got a wall of propaganda up against anything like this to try to defend crazy Joe Biden. Biden's demented, he's corrupt, he's accomplished nothing in his whole political career, he takes credit for what better minds have done, his fans are largely living in a complete bubble, a complete echo chamber. That being said, the legacy media is currently pulling out all stops to discredit this story without evidence to discredit it. Giuliani claims that he's got lots more stuff, so we'll see if you get any more October surprises. Again, he's claiming there's stuff that's more incriminating than this in this particular trove. It may reach a fever pitch. Why do you think they canceled the second debate, by the way? Do you think that they got wind of the fact that this was going to drop right beforehand? Do you think that there might be a reason that they did that? They wanted to isolate Biden from it so he could talk to his own fans in a town hall on ABC News instead, so that hopefully they wouldn't know what was going on and would just call it a right-wing conspiracy theory? Do you think that maybe these people are covering for Joe Biden? No, I don't know. I can't possibly observe any evidence of this happening. Of course they are. However, the deeply damning nature of Biden being caught out, again, if this material is true, which I have no reason to disbelieve it because of the pictures I'm seeing and the content comporting to what we know is reality in a tangential way, the optics of Joe Biden being caught out in an explicit lie over an issue that was a big story, and even the legacy media at the time was covering it, although they tried to brush it aside as much as possible. That's not great for Biden. I would think that some people would look askance to the fact that the Vice President of the United States lied about being in contact with a foreign energy firm, firing a prosecutor thereafter subsequently who was trying to investigate the firm, and then pretending that nothing untoward had happened. While his son, a crack-smoking degenerate with absolutely no goddamn skills whatsoever to be on an energy firm, was pocketing untold amounts of cash, which presumably wasn't all just earmarked for him. Maybe there were some other people getting paid off through Hunter Biden. He just becomes the fall guy, the middleman. This is a crazy story. I hope we see more from Giuliani's apparent data trove. And for the Washington Post to say, well, this is completely discredited, it never happened. Again, you haven't seen the initial documents. Giuliani's lawyer is an accredited individual and one reasonably reliable, even if you consider Giuliani himself to be a political hack at this point. And he definitely is a hatchet man for Donald Trump. That doesn't mean that this isn't real. The idea that because an outlet is politicized, it can't be true. Oh, the New York Post leans to the right, it loves Trump. Dude, you listen to everything the New York Times says, Washington Post, these groups are explicitly pro-Joe Biden. Most of them have fucking endorsed him outright. Of course they're going to cover for his ass. They're not doing journalism. And if this story isn't real, and you say, well, it's fake news, so it's good to be censored. There's so much fake news out there that's aimed at Trump on a literally daily basis that comes from the slop media. And not once has any of these stories resulted in Mark Zuckerberg or Jack Dorsey attempting to censor it and block it out. It's never algorithmically demoted. The very fine people thing. The idea that Trump called coronavirus a hoax. The idea that the Trump tax plan didn't save mainly the working and middle class money. All of these things are false. If these groups really want to editorialize, it should at least be even-handed. They should label themselves publishers of political information and stop trying to pretend to be unbiased. Well, we're just interested in people getting the truth. They've pulled out all the stops to interfere in the election. Right now, what you see is interference by Beijing and by Silicon Valley billionaires in the U.S. election. That's the real election interference that we're seeing. We know that this crack-smoking dude has done weird shit before. Now we've got pictures of him passed out, apparently with a crack pipe in his bed, and weird stuff like that. Why wouldn't I assume that the rest of the material, if that apparently can be verified, it's not like some deepfake bullshit. If I can verify that, why wouldn't I just expect that the rest of the material there is true? Apparently, again, the allegation is the FBI has this material too and was already looking at it months and months ago. This is damning. If this is actually true, Joe Biden is disqualified from the presidency. He was caught out in an explicit lie and a crime at the time as vice president leaning on a foreign energy firm on behalf of his son in order to try to get an investigation into a Russian energy company dropped. Russian election interference, my goodness, the Vice President of the United States might have been compromised by a foreign nation. There's your election interference. That's about all. Peace out.